Well, there's nothing more that I love than an American dream come true, and our guest today on the show embodies exactly that, taking her initial idea from the internet to television to books, and who knows what's going to come next for her. Lisa Lillien, the original Hungry Girl, is with us. How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine, thanks. Thank you so much for joining us. You have done something really amazing here, and we'll talk about your latest book, Hungry Girls Supermarket Survival. I also want to talk about your 300 Under 300. But first, a little background on Hungry Girl, which is a phenomenon, and not necessarily with all the guys I hang out with at the shooting range, but I have a 21-year-old daughter. No. Well, I can start indoctrinating them. It's like, hey guys, check this out. I have a 21-year-old daughter, and she's very familiar with you. Did this start with the email list or the website?
And it was really a daily email. Like I had the idea to create an umbrella brand about food and making smarter choices about eating. And I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm just hungry. And I thought, well, like, why not take something and make it fun and relatable? And I don't know, just provide information that everybody really wants. Like every woman, I believe, in America and beyond really wants this information. And Hungry Girl, nothing like Hungry Girl had existed before. And so I decided to launch it as a daily email because I knew that if you built a website, basically nobody would go. Maybe my mom and my sister and my aunt would go. But if you started a daily email and had very relevant information that people would want to share with their friends, that they would do just that. And they would just send it to their friends, and the word would spread rapidly, and that's exactly what happened.
So you claim 1 million people a day read the email, which I don't doubt at all, but how do you build something? And did it just go, was that the original viral nature of this email list?
Yeah, I mean, I started the email in 2004, and back then there were hardly any daily emails. And my goal was always to make the email fun and funny and relatable with information that people really wanted. And that first day I sent the email out to probably less than 100 people, and it just has grown via word of mouth only. I've never spent one penny to market those daily emails, and now 1.2 million people get the emails every day.
It really is such a phenomenon, and what I find so cool about it is you've honed in on, and again, I have a 21-year-old daughter, and it's exactly the right sweet spot. You know, she's always like, how many this is too many calories, you know, and she's gorgeous, by the way, has a horrible self-image, which I think a lot of young girls have. Really, was there nothing out there at all that even came close? I mean, there's lots of diets and nutrition stuff, but...
Right. I mean, I thought there was nothing that came close because I always say if I wasn't Hungry Girl and if I wasn't writing the content and I wasn't running the business, I would be my own #1 fan. And I do think that I have taste buds that are sort of universal taste buds. I know what tastes good. I'm a food gossip. So I love to talk about food, and I love to discover ways to create new foods and find things on shelves. And I do it in a way that, like, I'm almost obsessive. That's just the way I am. Like, I started Hungry Girl originally because I had taken these pastries that I was eating to a food lab to be analyzed because I didn't believe the calorie counts.
Right, as one does, right? I mean, you just decided to, I'll just take that to a food lab.
So, like, literally, I spent like $700 of my own money, and I'm like speeding an hour away from my house with these pastries in my front seat thinking, all right, I'm insane, A. And B, I think a lot of people could benefit from my insanity. I think of myself as everyone's best friend that will go that extra mile to get the information and tell you all about it. So, like, I think people are just lucky that I'm doing the dirty work, so to speak.
Now, just looking at you, and we've never met in person. I mean, you're gorgeous. It almost seems unbelievable. Well, I mean, yeah, she's a hungry girl, but have you always been trim and beautiful and fit, or have you had weight issues? Did you deal with that?
Well, thank you, first of all. And yeah, I was about 30 pounds heavier than I am today, and I'm only 5'1". So 30 pounds is a lot on a small frame. And again, I grew up the daughter of a yo-yo dieter. My mom has been on every single diet under the sun. I mean, from the time I was 7 or 8 years old, and I was always a little bit pudgy, and people would make comments to me, and I was always very self-conscious about my weight. And so that's probably why I grew up food obsessed. I mean, I've always been thinking about food and counting calories, and so whether you have a 30-pound weight problem or a 50-pound or a 100-pound weight problem, it's always, it's on your mind. And I think that I'm just like every woman in America, really thinking about fitting into my pants. Whether you're trying to fit into a size 4 or a 14, everyone's got their own struggles.
So you don't make any guarantees, but the logic is kind of right there. I mean, you analyze the grams of fat. Did you do this with every single ingredient that you talk about, for instance, in the Supermarket Survival Guide?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, there are no set rules as to like what would make something Hungry Girl approved or how many calories can something have. It's really all on a case-by-case basis. And when it comes to our recipes, we're really meticulous about putting together recipes that accurately list calories and fat counts. And I use a lot of products on shelves, and you have to trust the labels of large companies when they put their calorie counts on the labels. And then we use a lot of nutritional databases, like the government databases as well. That's how we figure out the calories and fat in my recipes. And then as far as products on the shelves that you see in the Supermarket Survival book, those are just things that everybody can find at the market that are smarter choices. Because a lot of times people think you can only shop the perimeter of the store and you can only buy like fresh fruits and vegetables and organic and natural. And there are some hidden gems in the center aisles, and I think this book really points those out.
And I totally agree. And by the way, I'm seeing my daughter next week. She lives in Los Angeles, which is very hard to get anything. Either it's whole paycheck or you're at Ralph's, and you kind of stuck with that. And she's 21. She's starving in L.A. But it really is good. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. I didn't know about like the spray-on butters. Like if one spray is okay, but if you keep spraying a couple times, then before you know it, you're bloated. But this is. I'm sorry.
I just want to say, getting back to that, I once saw a woman screw the top off of that spray butter and pour the bottle.
She drank it, right? Just like chugged it.
Something like 900 calories in the bottle. So you're right about that. So
but about labeling in general, this is a huge issue in the United States, particularly. In Europe, there's a lot more information they provide on labeling. It seems like there is still a lot of information lacking that we see on labeling.
Well, there's information lacking. The information is confusing, and then even more of a problem is that the FDA doesn't really crack down on small companies who mislabel. So over the years, I have found many sort of mom and pop companies that are reporting calories, fat, carbs on their labels, and they're just grossly wrong. I mean, crazy. I just did a story last week in New York. There was a pizza that said it had 195 calories, and they had tested it, and it was 593 calories.
Oh, wow. That's a difference.
And so, yeah, like I think that for the most part, we've come a long way, and with larger companies, there's a lot of very relevant, helpful information on labels, but there are tricky pitfalls. And another thing that bugs me, even on if you see a product from a large, reputable company, sometimes it looks like one serving, and it says it's 2 or 3 servings.
Right.
Don't do the math. They don't realize that, okay, well, this is a bottle of some beverage. Why is that 1.5 servings?
So how is this particular book, the Supermarket Survival, how is this actually best used? I mean, it is small, handy format. Is this something I throw in my purse, and then as I'm going through, I'm like this, or do I figure out what I want to eat first, and then look at the recipes? What is your recommendation?
I recommend that you throw it in your purse.
Watch out. I've got some nice Gucci and Prada. Be very careful.
I'm sure you do. It's great. It's an easy guide to carry. I think a lot of the Hungry Girl fans that have been reading Hungry Girl since I started in 2004 know a lot of this information, and it's ingrained in their brains. And then it's just a little handy-dandy reminder. Or if you're not familiar at all with the Hungry Girl brand, it's easy enough to just keep with you in your car, keep with you in your purse, at your desk at work. It just has all that information right at your fingertips.
And how about, so this is kind of a weird question, because, if you look at the difference between, here's your 300 breakfast, lunch, and dinner dishes under 300 calories, which I only started cooking myself a couple of years ago, so I am, and by the way, I saw like trios, wait a minute, there's trios in here, and I'm like, oh yeah, which of course is not what I expected, but it's basically dishes with 3 ingredients, so I'm going to be making several of these. So these are all paper products. What do you think about the difference between having, for your style guide, your survival guide, versus having an app for it or a website where you can get the information? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I have a website. I mean, the website that exists now at hungry-girl.com is an archive of every single daily email I've ever sent, and it's completely free. and it's searchable, and you can find thousands of recipes there and tons of information if you know how to navigate and look for it. I think an app is a great idea. There is a Hungry Girl app on the way. It's just taking me a while because I'm a perfectionist and I didn't want to come out with something small. I wanted it to be great and sort of all-encompassing. So I don't have it yet, but I think that people want information when they want it, and an app is a great thing and a website's a great thing. These books are great. I think people do like to hold cookbooks in their hand. I mean, I have electronic versions of my cookbooks as well, but there's something about holding a cookbook and cooking with a cookbook in the kitchen that people like.
Oh, no, I totally agree, because I like to go back and say, oh, there's that tomato paste that I got on it last time. Yeah, I'll remember if I really liked it that much. I agree with the physical product in general. Now, so when did stuff start to break out? Because all of a sudden, you have like 18 television shows, you're a guest on every program, you turn on the TV, oh, there she is again. When did this happen, and what was that tipping point?
Well, 2004 is when I launched the brand, and so for the first year or two, it was just like building that email list, and it just, it was 10,000 subscribers, then 50,000, then 100,000, and then brands started coming to me, like a lot of like food brands came to me and said, hey, you love our product so much, can we work together? And shortly after that, TV opportunities came my way, and I was all of a sudden on the Today Show and Good Morning America and on The View, and at first I was petrified of doing television. I never expected to be an on-camera person. I had worked behind the scenes at a lot of entertainment companies. In my wildest dreams, I never thought I would ever be on television. My husband actually has created a slew of hit TV shows for Nickelodeon.
Oh, really?
Like Charlie and Victorious. And he used to always say, you know what, I've got a small part for you in this week's episode. And I was like, no chance. Petrified. So the whole, getting, in front of the camera thing was just totally new to me. And I didn't get a show until like about a year and a half ago. And that, of course, was scary to me as well, because you're just standing in a kitchen cooking and looking at a camera. Awkward, but I can't say no. Like, I really am excited about growing this brand and taking it wherever I can and having fun along the way and helping millions of people.
So the almost logical next question is, will there be Hungry Girl food?
Well, yes. I mean, it's a good question. I think my goal would be to have Hungry Girl fully branded product when the opportunity is right. I've got some deals currently. I have a Hungry Girl Flat Out Fold It with Flat Out, which is a great brand, and they make flat breads. And there's Hungry Girls on the back of millions of Fiber One cereal boxes, and I provide my recipes there. And I've created some flavors for Vitalicious Vitatops. They're like the best muffins in the world, all natural, high fiber. So I've dabbled in that, and I definitely do, when the time and the product is right, want to get more involved in Hungry Girl Foods.
Oh, well, we look forward to that. Make it even easier for me. No more, just microwave it. Just give me something to throw in the microwave. That's perfect. I have to ask you, and I appreciate, by the way, the beautiful shot you set up for this interview today. That's not everyone thinks about it that way. But I see, are those like classic lunchbox lids that I see above you with Pac-Man and Star Trek?
Yes. First of all, I'm in my home now. I'm in Encino, California. I have an office, but I decided to do this for my home. And I do. The lunchbox is my favorite part of the house. I have a wall with like 77 lunchboxes.
Oh, beautiful.
And they're all perfect. And I'm so proud of them. And I love them. Yeah. I don't know if you can identify any behind.
Well, I see Pac-Man. I think I see Dr. Spock. Or is that...
Yes,
yeah. And that's about all I can see, actually. But if there's 70, I could go on forever.
Yes, and I'm sure you had a couple of them, but I'm very proud of them, and I love them. I could just stare at them all day.
Well, Lisa, again, thank you so much for taking the time today, and thank you for providing what I think is a great product. Again, this is perfect, and I know this from firsthand experience. This one's going to my daughter. I know she's going to love this one. If any of you want any of Lisa's books, I'm going to put a link in to take you to her Amazon page, but you can also tap on the blue button if you're watching the app. And of course, you can always go to hungry-girl.com, right?
That's right.
So thank you so much. Next time you see Matt Lauer on the Today Show, tell him I said he's a dork, because I remember him from a long time ago. Just remind him of that. And
are you sure about that? I'm going to see him like very soon, like maybe within a week.
Do that. The interview will go great after that. And come back anytime. Whenever you got something new going on, let us know.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. It's really great to chat with you. I feel like I've known you forever.
Well, you know, we made that two-way a long time ago. Thanks again, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye.